Hello and welcome to the channel. This is Steel City Knives. Right, I've got another video for you today and we are going to be having a look at this case Seahorse Whittler. So with my videos, we're going to be sort of having a look at this example here, but we're going to be deep diving a bit into the pattern. I've become a bit obsessed with Whittler knives. So much so, I just keep picking up. So this is a Sheffield example. I sort of fell in love with this knife that Drew White let go out of his collection, and they're just special knives, Whittler knives. I mean, I'm not a Whittler, but I do appreciate the patterns, and there are a few in this sort of category of knives, and we'll probably just have a little look at a few. But right, let's get on with the video. So I use the Levine's guide as a reference when collecting knives. I've adopted this from a brilliant channel called Messer HQ. He always used to use it in his videos. So I shouldn't really be saying this because they're becoming harder and harder to find, and the cost is going up. So I'll probably just done myself over a little bit there, but because I like to collect the books themselves. But as you can see here, the Whittlers are vast. There's a lot of different shapes and sizes, and they are all absolutely beautifully and well designed, and obviously a lot of technique goes into making these, and they're just a fantastic knife to collect. Unfortunately, I don't think some of these patterns are probably stopped being made, but we're going to be talking about this one in particular, which is referred to in the Levine's guide as a serpentine Warncliffe Whittler. And there are a few companies still making it, and like I said, we're going to talk about the origins and things like that, and sort of really deep dive into the pattern, because I absolutely love Whittlers, really do. So let's have a look at this example here. So I've got a massive thank you for somebody that I met recently for selling this to me. He's a bit of a low-key guy, don't like the attention, which I can relate to a little bit, believe it or not, but thank you very much. It's been a pleasure getting to know you. He has a phenomenal collection and a lot of good stories and information on cutlery in general, so it really has been a pleasure getting to know you. Thank you very much. But yeah, so this is from 2019. And this is quite a unique piece for my case collection because of this jigging. So Case do some fantastic jigging, but this is fence row jigging. I assume because it just looks like a fence, but really well done. And this is olive green bone, and you can really see that olive colour there. And it's dyed, it really is, the dye job is fantastic. And I've watched a lot of Case Seahorse Whittler videos online now, and the fit and finish has always been exemplary on all of them, really. And it's just such a beautiful knife. So let's have a look at the blade configuration. I'll tell you what I'll do, because I'm really rubbish at doing it in general. I'll put some of the specifications from a seller up. So this is half the reason why I've not monetized my channel, is that hopefully I can get away with showing bits and pieces on there, because I don't want this to be, this is I always say it's a hobby channel, but I like referencing things. I like giving shout outs to, I'm going to reference a brilliant site and put a link to it. It's quite a small website, and it's called Rod Neep, and he does a fantastic article on Whittler knives. I'm going to show some of the pictures that he's got on there, but if you have a look in the description of the video, you'll be able to follow that link, and it's a fantastic website. I'm not too sure about it, but trying to find research on this, I stumbled across it, and it's brilliant. There's some brilliant articles on there, and I hope he doesn't mind, but I'm going to borrow some of his pictures. And that's what I mean. If I don't monetize, I just want to do this channel for the love of knives. I love sharing my collection. It's a hobby, and I just want this information to be carried forward, and anything I sort of learn along the way from you guys, or my, or finding research on myself, I want to share it on the channel, because to benefit us all, really. But yeah, I do. I look. So that's all the specifications there. I'll just show you the blade configuration. We've got this beautiful stout Warncliffe blade here. Now, there's a lot of talk on forums about the traditional Warncliffe, obviously sort of created by Lord Warncliffe. And on that website, I don't know if his name is Rod Neep, but he talks about what essentially a Warncliffe blade is, and they were all really sort of stout, thick blade stocks. So this is a very traditional Warncliffe. And then what we've got here is a coping blade and a little pen. But the walk and talk on these, even these little blades here, is fantastic. You listen to how snappy these are. And again, very thin blade stock on these two. And then nice big thud with a big stout blade stock there. And as you can see there, you've got two back springs here, and the main blade runs on two back springs, and then obviously the smaller blades have their individual back springs. And that's why I love Whittlers. I think they're just made so well. More of an intricate, obviously, makeup to them. But yeah, really fantastic job Case did on this. I love the XX that's engraved, so it's going nowhere, really crisp on the bolsters there. But he let me have this for a fantastic price, so it's going to be a user for me. Now, I know these do sort of fetch more of a premium sort of price tag, but when we talk about some of the makers that are still making them, I'm going to offer you three different sort of price brackets, really. So, right, let's get on with talking about the origins. So we'll talk about the origins, because it's very rare in traditional knife, the knife world, to actually find the exact origins of a knife. And I mean, I'll put the blurb on here from Case. I think this is originally from Case, but as you can see there, they've named Joseph Rogers as the origins of the knife. Now, I'm lucky enough that I speak to Stephen Cocker, who's the head cutler at Joseph Rogers. Now, Joseph Rogers is one of the most historic brands in Sheffield. In fact, Stephen works for the Egginton Group, which is an umbrella company which owns most of the most historic Sheffield brands. And Joseph Rogers was phenomenal. You know, they did the Year knife and the Norfolk knife. They were appointment to 5 successive sovereigns. And they had these really elaborate showrooms and things like that. They're just a phenomenal historic knife company. Now, I don't think this is any secret, but I think they're going to actually make this frame, this pattern again. Now, this is a 4-inch knife. I'm actually having a couple of customs made by Stephen Cocker. One's a gift, but they are on a smaller frame, but I'll be showing them on the channel, and I cannot wait to show them. But yeah, I think Joseph Rogers will be producing this again under the Joseph Rogers name. So, and Stephen Cocker actually shared this whole catalogue with me from Joseph Rogers that I'll put up now. As you can see there, they're coming a 3-blade and a 2-bladed, and I'll be getting a couple of the 2-bladed ones. I actually found this in a catalogue an old catalogue I own. From the I think it was 1910, might be 1900s, but again, this is a Joseph Rogers. Now that looks like it's a shadow frame, so it's not got the bolsters, but the same sort of pattern, the same frame shape. And also on that website that I'll put in the description, Rod Neep, unfortunately I couldn't find the link, but I found what he was referring to on name on a knife blade. This is from 1820, this ad, and it's Unwin and Rogers. And as you can see there's a lot of different knives on there, but you can just, if I zoom in there, you can actually see this serpentine Whittler frame or pattern. So I love doing the deep dives. I love finding all these. And what we're going to do, we're going to have a look at 3 people that are making them still today, Case being one of them, and we're going to be having a look at some examples that I found online as well. I'll put like them probably on at the end, but as you can tell, I'm a massive knife geek. I love doing these deep dives into it. And then obviously this is one that I won at auction shortly after picking this up. And this is a J Barber. Again, it's a shadow frame. But yeah, it's got the same blade configuration. I'll try and get this pen out because as you can see there, it's quite, but yeah. And what I've found with a lot of the Warncliffe ones, so the Warncliffe blade got replaced a lot with a clip point. It's again the same sort of shape and frame size, and then the coping blade gets replaced a lot with, so you have 2 pen blades on a lot of the models that I find, but I'll just show you a few examples anyway. I know in traditional the pocket world that people can get quite pedantic about different configurations and things like that, but I love this shape. So it don't matter what blades come out of it, it's just fantastic. And it really does sort of make sense when it's in hand. And it works in so many different ways in which you hold it. It's just fantastic. And again, that's why I was so obsessed with this. Look how beautiful that is. It's just, Whittlers seem to be really sort of special knives, I think. And listen to the snap on this. It's just fantastic. But yeah, really glad to pick this one up. It's quite coincidental, really. Like I say, I bought this, loved it, and then this popped up, so I thought I've got to have it. But yeah, brilliant knife. But yeah, I may do a video deep diving in that, but I always promise loads of different videos, and I will deliver. Hold me to it. Right, let's show some more. So we'll briefly talk about Case, and on that Rod Neep website, he goes into a bit of detail as well of other companies that sort of made this pattern. But if we talk about Case now, so Case brought this Seahorse Whittler out in 2002, but it's not the first time that they did this frame. So I think the differences are the blade stock. So on the Seahorse Whittler, it's more of a stouter blade. But if I show you some of the ones that they brought out in the 90s, this was back when Parker owned them, and Parker brought out the Case Classic line. Now, a lot of these patterns were made by Queen, but I think the Seahorse Whittler, well, it wasn't called a Seahorse Whittler. I think it was called a Warncliffe Whittler. That was made probably by Case, but they look phenomenal. But that website that I keep referring to, and I'll put the link in the description, he's got a few examples on that, and he talks in detail about the actual, because obviously he has a few about the quality and all the rest of it. But very interesting part of Case's history when Parker owned them. Parker owned them briefly, and then Zippo sort of bought them. And he speaks about Zippo bringing back some of the craftsmen, some of the really experienced people that worked there to bring Case back up, and that they needed these kind of people that knew how to make knives. They sort of brought them back. But I know when Parker had them, a lot of the Case classics were made by Queen. So, and you know I love Queen, and a brilliant company, and unfortunately now gone. And I don't know what's happened to those brilliant cutlers there. But yeah, unfortunately, yeah, like I say, it's a fascinating part in cutlery history, that is for sure. But so, and also I think I found one from the 70s as well that was very similar. So even though they say the Case Seahorse Whittler was brought out in 2002, Case have been doing this sort of frame, this pattern for a while. So I know and again, you can get pedantic and say, well, this is a 4-inch and that was a bit smaller back then and all the rest of it. And the blade was slightly different. But this definitely, because a lot when you look for this sort of frame, you'll find a lot with that clip port blade and just 2 pen blades and things like that. So, but yeah, it is, and the one that I think Joseph Rogers is going to bring out will be a bit smaller in size. I think on that website he was talking about the Bulldog brand, and they had 3 sizes, and he shows the 3 sizes there. Just a fantastic website, fantastic article on there. Someone like me, it's just really my sort of thing to read. Right, so I'll show you 3 examples that are still being made today, or 3 companies that are still making it today. So the 3 makers that are making it today are obviously Case, and we've spoken in great detail about, and they're really widely available, Case. I absolutely love Case. I buy majority of my Case knives here in the UK from Moonraker Knives. That's Tony over there. I feel like he has such a good variety of Case knives. I think they're really reasonably priced. You can go on there and pick one up for about £50 or so. He has a lot in that sort of price range, and they are worldly accessible, Case, and they still do a lot of patterns, and I love Case. I just really do. I will carry on collecting them. They've got a lifelong sort of customer with me. I just do, and I will always show them on the channel. I absolutely love them. So Case, and I'd class Case as sort of the middle of the road almost. Don't get me wrong, they can be expensive, brand new. I think Tony's prices over on Moonraker Knives are really, really good. You can pick them up really. I picked this up for such a good price on the second-hand market, and that's also a good thing. Here in the UK, that second-hand market is getting a lot more accessible and building up a bit more. And then, so the budget offering, and I mean, people's budgets are all different anyway, but I'd managed to find this, I think it was on Lamnia for about £40, and this is a hen and rooster. So I've done a few videos of hen and rooster and Robert Class in the past, and I'm pretty sure hen and rooster, the brand is split between Robert Claas and Frost. So Robert Claas sort of owns the rights to it in Zollingen. And if you see Zollingen on the tang stamp, it is made in Zollingen. Zollingen is fiercely protected. It's a very historic and proud cutlery and manufacturing city, and only knives that are produced in there have that stamp on. So if it doesn't have Zollingen on, then you know it's probably not been produced there. And then Frost owns the rights to hen and rooster in America. And I know they have a lot of the hen and rooster branding knives made in China. I'm not saying that's a bad thing or anything. They also have some made in Spain, though. Spain are brilliant at making knives. I've got quite a few Spanish knives in the collection. I really do rate them. I think they're brilliant. But I could always remember seeing this knife on RJ's, and it looked phenomenal. I think he had it in the Stag. So I've not been able to track a Stag one down. But I know they do it in the blue and the red bone over here or in Europe. And like I say, I found them for about £40. So it looks a phenomenal knife, and one that I probably might end up picking up, I think. But yeah, and then so we've got GEC as well, and GEC, like I say, they're not your average producer. They do runs, and then, when they're gone, and you never know what they're going to produce that year and all the rest of it. But they did a little nod, the 38 pattern, and they called it the English Whittler. And the guy that I bought this off actually has one. I'll show you that now. Phenomenal knife. And then he also has like a bit more of a rarer SFO. This is brilliant. He's got one of these, which looks fantastic. But yeah, so, and then obviously GEC, I think they change sometimes the blade configurations and things like that. But yeah, their 38 pattern is quite similar to this. So there's 3 companies that are still producing it today. And then, of course, we're going to have Joseph Rogers, hopefully. Might be a bit smaller than this, but the same sort of shape and size of this. Right, I'm going to show you a few that I found online, or just some Whittlers that I found online. I've just realised this is probably going to be a long video, but I try and shorten it down, but sometimes I love talking about cutlery. I do keep meaning to try and do 10-minute videos or something like that, just to make it a bit more shorter, but you get me talking about cutlery and I will talk forever. But yeah, there was one very special one I wanted to show you, and this is a Joseph Rogers one that I found online, and look how good this looks. Really is amazing. And then, like I said, I found this shape or this frame, but obviously with different blade configurations. But I'll show you a few of the ones that I found now. I'll just put them on. So we've got like Bulldog, we've got Fighting Rooster, I found a Winchester and a Remington. So some phenomenal, and I think that's what I need. So obviously I've got a Sheffield one in the collection. I've got this brilliant American example here. I'm going to get a couple, I'll have one from Stephen Cocker, which will be a smaller piece. I think I need to get a Zollingen one now to sort of, and then on to the next pattern, I think, as far as Whittlers are concerned. But yeah, the addiction is real, isn't it, people? Definitely. But yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this one, and I've enjoyed doing it. I love this pattern, I really do. And like I say, when you've got it in hand, it makes a lot of sense. And I'm glad I got this video out of the way, because I can start EDCing this now, and I don't have to worry about if there's any scuffs or marks on it. So thanks all for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.